How many of you heard me already speaking what we're doing? How many of you? So only couple of you. So what I talk to you about before you go is about 10 minutes and then I can go. And I want to talk to you about what we're doing, what's the vision, what do you see here, and also about what you guys are doing. Okay, so basically, people ask me where I'm from. I was born in Israel. I moved in the early 80s to New York. I built several businesses, got involved in the meat packing. I was very much the first, one of the first people in the meat packing. Built businesses, logistics, fashion, art, entertainment. Some of you probably know Milk Makeup, Milk Studios in New York, if you're from New York. Came to Miami in 2009, and in Miami, and we had the vision, I had the vision, and I had an idea what we need to do in Miami. Our vision, our mission is really to make Miami the Western Hemisphere global hub, connecting the Americas to make America one economy, dollarize Latin America. Because Latin America is 700 million people, fragmented, two countries but very rich continent. North America is 400 million, give or take. We have China, 1.5 billion people, and we have India, 1.5 billion people. So if you run the clock up 20 to 30 years, we as a country, economically, we're going to shrink, no matter how much innovations we have due to the number of population. And the whole idea that we said from the get-go is connect Latin America, North America to make it one economy. I went to Wynwood, I bought 45 acres, assembled them in 163 deals, with the idea to build the sustainable cultural hub of Miami. Started doing the street arts, started doing music event, fashion event. Remember Miami 2009, 10, 11, 12 was really summer, winter kind of a city. And we, today, as you see, you can see Wynwood the way it is today, and it's not coming out of nothing. We led the change, and many other people joined, just like what we did in the meat packing, and just like what we did in Jersey City. We put 2 million square feet of abandoned warehouses outside the tunnel, and we built the biggest art center in America over there. But in Miami, we had another issue, with economy issue, summer, winter, and very weak economy. And based on this also, we figured out that we need to connect the Americas, and this is so clear to me. Latin America is 700 million people, and they are not connected yet to the world. And now there's technology, there's the app, there's the young generation that I meet all the time that want to make changes in their own countries. Our job is to harness this energy and put it in the right direction. Based on this idea, I came to Flagler District and I bought 72 properties because I had an idea to create the Silicon Valley of Latin America. I bought it based on the idea, not based on value. We're doing the street, takes a long time with the city. I was able to design the street and go to the city, county, and raise money to do the street, walkable, pedestrian friendly. But what's most important also, I build infrastructure to support this vision and to make it happen. I built the Manatech organization. I'm financing for the most part of it until today. The Mana Tech organization to support companies coming from all over, mainly from Latin America, to connect, go to market, raise money, because the idea was because I was visiting in Latin America and I totally understood that these people have no chance to raise money. Remember, 2014, 15, 16, and there was no unicorn yet in Latin America. And the idea of what I said, if we bring all these countries, nobody gonna go to invest over the 1800. But if we bring them here together, it's 700 million people economy, it's much more appealing for the investors and it's much easier to collaborate. That's why I call the platform the MANA 4C: collaboration, connection, communication, compassion. That's the way idea to be good as well. And this is what we've been doing, not only for the technology. We have dozens of companies coming on a regular basis. Today we've been hosting Colombia, we're hosting Mexico, and dozens of companies coming for this purpose. And it became a movement. We have 20,000 people on our platform, with the Manatech organization. And the idea is to build the facilities to house these people and to house the ideas. Now, not only tech, also fashion. Miami needs fashion. So we built showrooms because we don't have fashion in Miami. We built showrooms, affordable showrooms, and we're still doing it and improving it. Material bank, events, same thing we've been doing with the arts, supporting the arts forever. And I was spending $2-3 million with the street art in Wynwood, and I was paying music companies to come and play there. And this is what really made Wynwood at the time. And when we have a book that you can buy on Amazon, Mana Urban Arts, all the arts that we've been doing over the years. And the same thing we've been also music and entertainment and what's not. But this is it, culture with business, I call it, together. And it became, and I'm very proud of my people that have been working so hard to make this vision happen. And now we started building some share office spaces downstairs, and we're building the Nikola Tesla Innovation Hub. In March, it's going to be completed. And this is about innovation of health, AI, cyber, anything that's innovative. And very important also, social innovation, because we got a big issue with social innovation. And with this, I'm going to really go a little bit of what you guys doing in AI and why social innovation and everything else with it. Because you are sitting with the AI on the cutting edge of technology, and we are producing technology. Sorry. And we are creating technology that we still do not know where it's going to take us and how we can control it. And it's a very dangerous tool. What I read, what I understand now, we have the quantum and we have the AI and we have everything else. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about us as society and what's really happening. Because at the end of the day, technology was created for a good reason, for good purpose. To live longer, to live better, to connect better, to create better world. But unfortunately, there are people who are using it the wrong way. And these are the people that are very dangerous people. And just that I go here for a second to talk about the social media, and I'm not going to ask, because many of you probably think that social media should be open platform. I totally object to it. Because if somebody walks into this room and throws a smoke grenade, he's going to go to jail. Now, social media is nothing else than highway of information. And when I drive on this highway, when I drive on a highway, I have to drive certain speed limit with seatbelt, with helmet, and there's rules to engage on the highway. And if somebody come with bad intention to conspire, to incite, we have to be dangerous. We have to be careful because our society today, in every country, in every state, is very divided as a result of this. Let's open it up and give everybody to talk whatever they want to say and how they want to say. This is the most dangerous thing that we can ask a society to do, and we're creating the AI on top of it. That we lose the little trust that we have in each other, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. So we have to be careful. Where are we going? What are we doing? And how are we doing? Because every innovation that man created, man change, brought a big disaster. Second World War, First World War as a result of the Industrial Revolution. They were able to, they invented weapons that can kill millions of people with no problem. 6 million Jews put in oven and moved them in trains. Created this industry to mobilize them into, luckily they didn't have the atomic bomb at the time. The same problem, we go back to the inception of us as people. We ate from the apple. We got punished. We got kicked out of heaven. We built a big building in Babylon to get to God. And God punished us again. God, you know. We ended up punishing ourselves, destroying ourselves. So we have to be very careful because every time we create, we move forward. There's somebody that's really using it in the wrong way. And we have to be careful with the AI especially and the quantum innovation that we have. That's why I'm afraid, because usually the bad weapon, the dangerous weapon, end up in the hand of the worst people in the world. Putin has it. I'm sorry, he's one of the worst. Bibi Netanyahu has it. Kim Jong-un has it. We have to be careful. Somehow they always end up having this weapon. And now we want to have chip in people's mind. Who's going to have the code to get in and to design us? We're creating robots, which is fine. We create robots. You can hack the robots to kill you in your home. So we have to be careful, again, for what we wish for. And somebody asked, what? So you don't like, you don't like innovation? No, I like innovation. I love innovation. But I have no problem building airplanes, but we need to build parachutes. I have no problem building airplanes, but we need to know also how to fly the airplane. That's what I want to say. Sense, you know, it's not everything you want to do in free society and open society, because democracy came from democracy. Chavez was in jail, came out to Venezuela. Hitler was in jail, came out, took Germany, took Europe. Juan Perón came from democracy. Erdogan from Turkey came from democracy. I can name for you in Hungary and Poland. I mean, they all come back from democracy. They talk in behalf of democracy. And when they get the power, they're out there to destroy us and to destroy democracy. So we have to be careful, because we as people, and this is what I'm talking about, social innovation that we need, because if we had the atomic bomb in the 40s, I don't know if we had it, we would have a world today existing. Luckily, we didn't have it. We need to be consciously aware and being able to this kind of very dangerous tool, and we need a social innovation, because at the end of the day, what I tell people, what separates man from an animal? What separates a man from an animal? A man has the ability to have consciousness, awareness, and moral. Animal is not able to do that. And you can find the best doctor in the world, but he will be the biggest killer. As in Assad, in Syria. He's a doctor, but he ended up slaughtering millions of people. We have to be careful. That's the common sense that I want to put together with you guys in your head. It's good to innovate, but we need to be careful from our wishes. Thank you very much.
Chance to have another guy very important here, the AI Salon founder, Jeff. Just if you want to say a few words, and then who's going to lead this, Patricia and Dolores. I don't know, Jeff.
Thank you, Etienne. It's so good to be here. This is one of the places where it all started about a year ago, and I really should just thank the incredible team of chapter organizers here. Some are here, not all, for making this happen every month, and obviously to the whole Monotech team for supporting it and making it happen. It's now grown to sort of 40 chapters around the world, and we'll have some exciting announcements that the organizers will share with you in January about some of the new things that are coming. It's great to be back here with you. Thanks for being a part of the community, and we hope it's making a difference in your life.
So before we start with the panel, I would like to thank my team members here, Etienne Girard, Dolores Crossover, and Juan Manuel Franchi, and myself, as you know, Patricia Tavira. The other ones are not here today, we couldn't make it, but if you need any introduction, if you have any suggestion to improve the AI salon here, if you want to tell us something, if we can help somehow, just after the pitch competition that we're gonna have tonight, after the panel, just come to us, please, and we'll try to help you, okay? So we have 3 fantastic AI speakers tonight with us. We are gonna let you know if you're a founder working in AI here, how many founders do we have tonight? Because I know that there are a lot of people today. Okay, still, we made it. Normally we are the half of the room. So we decided to organize this panel because we thought it was important for you to know the options that you have to get the capital to start your ventures. And a lot of people think that aside of bootstrapping, they can only get a loan, ask money to their family and friends, but there are other ways, right? There are angel investors like the amazing Sandy Corey that I'm gonna ask already to take a sip. Please join us. You have seen his bio already. He was the first angel investor in companies like Palantir or Canva. Big applause, please. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. An angel investor is one of the possibilities, right? But how do you connect with them, right? And who to know, who to go to. So those are the things that we're gonna talk to about it with him. Then another way to raise capital is in early stage to go to a VC that invests in early stage. But then you need to know also if they are investing in B2B or B2C or B2B2C, right? Which business model you have and if they are investing in that. And if they are investing in the vertical that you are working. So I'm gonna ask also Steve Mott to join the panel. Long bio, but to make it short, yes, long bio, impressive. To make it short, he is the Director of Growth and Partnerships at Bloomberg Capital. How many people know the venture, the VC Bloomberg Capital? Okay, so you need to say a lot of things. So they are now a local VC. And we want to bring to our community also the local angel investors, the local VCs. And also, Maurizio Angelone is gonna join us in the panel. Maurizio. Another impressive. He's representing Full Farm tonight. Full Farm is the new venture studio that just moved from Europe. They are the #1 venture studio in Europe, located in Italy, in Milan, in Lecce, right? And they decided to open an office here in Brickell, and he will tell us why. But they invest in generative AI, and we are becoming the capital of AI-based solutions worldwide. I'm convinced, and we are making it possible. So without further ado, we're gonna start with this amazing panel.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as I said, after the panel, we will have the pitch competition. We have two amazing local startups in the fintech space pitching, and the winner will be fast track to emerge in March. And I just needed to let you know that the food and drinks are sponsored tonight by Cashflow VIP.
Thank you.
Another way, by the way, to fund your startups. We'll tell you more about next time because I don't know what happened with oh, maybe he's here. Well, maybe I can give you the mic 1 minute. You want to do it now or after? Okay, we'll introduce Cashflow VIP just after the panel. Okay? Thank you. As I was saying, let me get La Chuleta. I'm sorry, it's a little bit difficult with the game now to have so many things. So I have briefly introduced these amazing panelists tonight. Before I start with the questions, maybe I would like you to add something to what I said so that people know who you are representing. Like they know angel investors, VCs, venture studios, they're gonna explain what that is. So maybe we can start with that, with a brief introduction.
Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for inviting me. I'm honored to be in this panel with such amazing people and great venue from my name is Maurizio Angeloni. I'm Italian. I've been here 20 plus years in Miami, so I lived through the amazing change and transformation of this city and its ecosystem. I've been in tech for all my life. I've been studying tech and then lived for 20 years in the corporate world and then transferred myself into the startup. So I've been co-founder and CEO of many startups, and now I have the honor of being the partner of one of the most amazing Italian venture builders and European venture builders. So we are opening shops in Miami, as Patricia was saying. It's a great opportunity. It's an amazing feel and vibe because Miami is changing so much, it's growing so much. And it gives really now the opportunity to do many things that were impossible 10 years ago, 20 years ago, as when I joined this beautiful city. We are a venture builder, so we build startups. We are a factory of startups. In fact, our office is an ex-former factory. And we basically do from the ground up. So we look for talents, we fund them, we select them, we fund them, and we help them building their product and then go to market. So we focus on AI mostly, only. Generative AI, agentic AI, cybersecurity, those are the areas where we focus. So very happy to be here, and hopefully Miami can be a great place for fun for the next steps.
Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Mock. Thank you all for coming. Very excited to be here tonight on this panel. My background is I actually grew up in Kentucky, lived in a bunch of different places, and I'm in my second year in Miami. So I haven't been here quite as long as Maurizio, but I'm in my second year and loving it. So it's great being here. I work for a venture capital firm, but I'm really an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, I helped build 5 startups that had exits and a whole lot more that did not work. My first startup that I did over 20 years ago, my current venture capital firm funded. We had a good exit and we sold the company, and we've been friends for 20 years. And a couple years ago, they asked me to come on board my current role, where I'm on the investment team, but I'm also helping our companies grow. So we, in addition to money, Lumber Capital, we offer a lot of resources and go-to-market and fundraising, in HR, we have a couple talent people, and all these things. It's not just money you need to build a company, it's these other things as well. So we have a whole team to do that. But our firm, we are an early stage investment firm. We have about $1 billion of assets under management. We typically write $1 to $5 million checks in seed and Series A rounds. We have a growth fund as well that comes in later, usually around Series B or later. So we typically invest early, and then we continue to invest and stay involved with the company throughout the lifetime of the company. We've been in about 10 early money in about 10 different unicorns over the years, and a lot more that have been successful. Our focus is very much in the B2B software space. So we really like business applications. We like enterprise software. We like how does software change with how businesses do what they do. We typically don't do as much consumer or hardware, but we'll take a look at it. But AI has been something that's been core to our hypothesis for a long time. We've been investing in AI companies for over 10 years. We have about 65 active companies in our portfolio, and about 70 or 80% of them are using AI for something, in different things. So again, we're very excited. If you guys are here local, if you have AI-related stuff, we'd love to hear about it.
Technical problem, sorry.
My name is Sandy Corey, and I've been in the Miami area for about 3 years. Previously, I was in the San Francisco area for about 20 years. Can I just talk with them?
No.
Yes. All right, how's that? Okay. So I've been in Miami for about 3 years after being in the Bay Area for about 20 years. Early in my career, I wanted to be in the technology industry, but I wasn't smart enough to be a computer programmer. So I kind of stumbled into tech investment banking, and I found a niche working with bootstrap technology companies. Technically doing M&A advisory for bootstrap tech companies, and I was able to help some companies that maybe you've run into their products. I advised Investopedia.com on their sale many years ago. Speedtest.net, if your internet is slow, you probably go to speedtest.net. I advised them on a sale 3 years ago. It was a $150 million deal. So I was an M&A advisor. I worked for a few firms, and in 2010 I started my own. But I always had an interest in investing. No one would ever hire me to do investing, so I decided to just invest on my own. And so in 2009, I invested as an angel in an early round in Palantir. In 2014, I invested in the seed round in Canva. And then in 2016, I really started to be, very active as an angel. And over the years, I invested in 7 unicorns. And actually, by late 2021, I got more passionate about investing, and so I decided to stop at M&A. And then actually, I went to the dark side with you, Steve, and started Horizon VC. And so we have a $44 million fund. We're focused on the seed stage, software investing, although these days, I think like with Bloomberg, predominantly the companies we invest in are working with AI. I particularly am not a fan of kind of trying to prognosticate about, you should do this startup or that startup. I think that it's really about finding the most ambitious and talented founders. They're close to the problems, seeing what they're doing and building. These days, I think most of them are using AI because just the power of AI products is so amazing. So I'm probably an AI investor, although it's really more about what the founders want. And our fund typically writes checks at around $500,000 to $1 million, and we love investing in companies really all over the world. We've invested in companies in Europe, Australia, Africa, Miami, which I hear is the center of Latin America, and we're quite global. I think that probably covers it for me.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I need someone to. It's not here. Okay. Have a good one. Dolores? No, okay. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing your story, and I will come back to that a little bit later, because I think that he has an amazing, story to tell you about that. Like when I met Sandy, I was struck by the way you told us how you invest in volunteer or Canva, and I wanted to hear. But I think it's important to tell them what is that when you invest in AI startups that excites you the most, and what are you looking for in terms of founders, team? Because you've told us which stage and which vertical you're investing on, but here we are at the AI Salon. Everything is about AI. We do all stages, all verticals. What is that really excites you? How do you know this is a company I want to invest in?
Is that okay? Thank you. Yeah, I mean the way we do it on our side, specifically given our business model, we are partnering with universities. So basically, we have 5 major partners in Italy where we have a constant conversation about talents, founders, kids coming out of college that have had an amazing program with professor. So we sit with them, we understand what's behind, and these are universities, and this is really a huge opportunity for Italy because there's so much talent untapped in those universities, because these are guys that have filed a patent, and all those patents remain in those university records and die there, most of them, and 90%. So we go there, we try to help these guys to find a way to life, find a way to market. So we look for amazing people, amazing talents, so brain, strong leaders that can really achieve things with us. And we look to, specifically, obviously, again, our focus is B2B, B2BC, AI. We focus on disruptive technologies. So we look for paradigm shift more than a change in what we do on a day-to-day. So we look for something that is different from what we see outside. What we do, we have an internal process. We have an investor committee of top executives or former executives that select startups that we want to invest on, and we help them then from the ground up. So developing the technology, funding with a pre-seed, early stage pre-seed, and we help them developing the product and helping them come up with an MVP that makes sense. And we really look at how to disrupt the space where these guys are looking to enter. How do we change the way customers expect the technology to achieve certain things in their space? And luckily, the B2B is obviously a little bit easier to understand than B2C in a way, at least for us. So we are able to, we partner with a lot of system integrators and those type of companies. So we have a constant conversation to understand the space and where the technology can really have a grip and a significant change.
So Maurizio, am I understanding that you are already you have partnerships with local universities here to get your investable startups here in
Yeah,
Miami?
that's what we aim to do. So we are starting the first conversation now in Miami with local universities. And the idea is to, apply the same model that we have applied in Italy for 5 years now, and help companies here, founders here, to kickstart. Basically, we don't look for unicorns, or we don't look for the phase of the unicorn. Maybe they become unicorn down the road, but we don't care about that. We look for the first 48 months of the life of a company. So very early stage, from the idea to the first exit for us, which is typically 36, 48 months. So very short period of time.
I think that this is a really good point. They are not looking for unicorns. They are.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, let me say, we partner a lot with family offices. We have what we call the Fuller's Club, which is basically the founder of the investors that came in, they first in Full Farm, and they are all family offices with a lot of interest in AI. So we partner a lot with family offices that have interest in the space. Today, 100% mostly Italians, but there is a lot of partnership there. And then obviously VC is our partner for the most probably the first exit, right? So when we exit our equity, so we partner with a lot of VCs in that space. Yeah.
And they are not an incubator program or an accelerator program. Was it understood by everyone? They are a venture studio, so they help you. They are your co-founder building your startup, right? Like a fractional CTO or a fractional.
Yeah. So we have a team of we build great competencies in-house. So we have R&D with an amazing CTO. We have finance. We have HR. We have legal. We have regulatory. We have sales. And that team is shared. Our aim is to produce 4 to 5 startups a year. So basically, that team is shared among those 3, 4, 5 startups that are in the pipeline, and help them developing the product, building the financial plan, building the business plan, understanding the competencies they need, understanding the go-to-market, understanding the customer. So we prepare them and we help them avoiding the typical mistakes that a founder does day one, not knowing who the customer is, not understanding how to build a business model that makes sense, making sure they understand financials, making sure they know what cash flow means, making sure they understand regulatory, which sometimes Uber is a good example. Uber, it doesn't exist in Italy still for regulatory reasons. So you really need to understand, and Uber is an amazing company.
Just a very quick question. So are you landing now in Miami because of the European AI Act?
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, no.
Let me say, Europe today, European universities today are the new Stanford, the new Harvard when it comes to AI. The AI boom is actually making European University, the new Stanford and Harvard. Why? Because there is a lot of talent that don't have a way to go be successful, because there is no infrastructure, there is less infrastructure, there is less help, there is less competences being built behind them, around them. Universities are not at the level of US. So there is a big opportunity, untapped talents in Europe that can actually do big things in the future of the AI. Sorry, it was too long. I think
So,
that's
venture
longer.
studio.
Yeah, it's longer.
Okay, so then.
I'll just add to what we're looking for in terms of deals in the AI space, et cetera. Also, 2 things. We're emphatically not investing. You're not investing in AI itself, right? So there's what you might consider like a horizontal AI thing, and there's a few of those big businesses out there which are doing really well. But we're in, as I said, the B2B software space. We're really hyper-focused on verticals. So let's say there's an insurance, or there's somebody has from the insurance space, and they're applying AI to a problem in the insurance space. So this is AI applied to that vertical. There might be somebody from the banking space who's deep experience in the banking space, and they're like, oh, we know this value chain, we're gonna apply AI in this way, it's gonna change that value chain this way. So we're hyper-focused on finding teams that have deep knowledge in specific verticals, and then perhaps combine that with somebody who has a deep technical expertise in AI and software development, and then they come and say, hey, we think we can really disrupt this value chain here in this vertical. So that's our primary starting point. We're looking for teams and ideas. And it's we're not experts. We have cursory knowledge in many, we have investments in manufacturing, we have an actual mining company that, not crypto mining, but digging minerals out of the ground using AI for mining. We don't know anything about mining, but the team we funded, they have a deep understanding of that space, and they impressed us with that. So that's it. So that's primarily what we're looking for, are teams that have that deep expertise and knowledge, et cetera. The other thing is we are looking for unicorns. So we are looking for, and more specifically, unicorn is a general term. We're looking for companies that have a path to get to about 100 million in ARR or revenue. And so typically what we like to do is have a discussion around, okay, how big is the market? It can be rough, but we just want to see that there's enough there where you could, with a reasonable market share, you could get 100 million in revenue or higher. And so that for us as a starting point, if you assume like a 10x multiple, that would be roughly $1 billion if it becomes a unicorn. That's generally what we like to do. We've seen many great teams with great products, but it's just a very small space. And then that could be a great investment for somebody, but it doesn't work for us as a venture fund for what we're looking for. I think the last point I'll make is time frame. You guys have a relatively short time frame, it sounds like, from this where you're positioning yourself. We're in it for the long haul. We're 8, 10, 12, 14 years. We just had an exit with a company that's been in our portfolio for over 20 years. And it was a long, windy road. And so the thing we're also looking for are, we know things are going to change. AI is going to change, the market's going to change, et cetera. So we're looking for teams that are going to be able to navigate that change. We can provide some advice, we can provide some support, we've had some experiences, but we're really like, is this a team that is going to, when things change, are they going to have the grit and the stamina to stay with it? Are they going to have the smarts to navigate it? Are they open-minded? Are they learning all those things? So I'd say those are really like the 3 different things that we're looking for in founders.
Thank you, Steve. Just one question. Are you also investing sometimes in pre-seed?
We do sometimes do pre-seed.
So venture studios start investing before you incorporate, before they invest after incorporation.
And so what do we look for? I would say that we are most focused on founders and high potential founders. We think about markets, but in my experience, sometimes when the startup is starting out, the market might be really small or non-existent. But then if the startup can build an amazing product, it can kind of will the market into existence. Like when Palantir started, they were trying to sell big data analytics to the government, and there wasn't a market for that. Big data analytics didn't exist, and the government barely bought any technology. And Palantir has kind of created a big market there. So we're pretty comfortable when there's no existing market. And so I'd say we think a lot about the insight that a founder has into a market, into solving a problem with a customer. And kind of a litmus test is, if I'm talking to someone about this problem, do I learn something? And sometimes it's a technical problem, and I'm not very technical, and then it's kind of, well, can someone explain it in simple terms and teach me? That's a nice sign that there's an interesting insight into a market. An example in our portfolio is a company called Send Cut Send that is building, they make custom metal parts, and the founder started the business because he had all these projects in his garage, building cars, things like that, and could never get the custom metal parts that he wanted, and found dealing with local manufacturing companies was really difficult. He had a history in software, and he thought, well, okay, these guys have bad software, I'll make software for them. But none of them wanted his software, and so he said, F it, I'll just build it myself. And so he got these expensive machines that are, you cut metal and make parts, and you put up a website, and today you can go to Send, if you want a custom metal part, it's going to get you the kind of the fastest part at the best price. And the company is doing millions of dollars of revenue every month, growing really fast, very profitable. And so I don't know anything about metal parts or building cars, but the founder did, and speaking with them, it was really clear that he had this kind of deep insight. And then also, that founder, Jim Bilicic, kind of typifies another trait that we look for, which is just kind of an obsession with a problem and really being all in. which is really hard for people like living their lives to kind of go all in. But we find that kind of like with Steve, we want to partner early, often for 10 plus years, and we are looking for kind of unicorns that can grow to really big important companies like a Palantir, like a Canva. And so at the early stage, it's really important that the founders are just kind of obsessed with this problem. And they're really go all in. And the last comment is a sign that we love to see, and this is kind of the story of how I invested in Palantir.
I was gonna go there. Can you share?
Absolutely, yeah. And so I did a graduate program in engineering at Stanford 20-ish years ago, and I worked with a guy named Sean Sankar. Actually, my friend Rami also went to school with him. And I got to know Sean really well. He's the CTO of Palantir today. And he was so impressive. I think that if we had voted on who was like most likely to succeed in this program of a couple hundred people, he would have won easily. He was just amazing. And so he actually joined a different company out of university, but then he, a couple years after graduating, he joined Palantir as employee number 13. And he was raving to me about how talented everyone at Palantir was. And I couldn't understand what they did, but Sean was like the most talented guy I knew, and he was raving to me about everyone there. It was like he went to school with LeBron James, and LeBron James was like, "These people are so good at basketball. Wow, they must be really good at basketball." And so, it really turns out to be like that when you find some of these startups at an early stage, the way they can attract talent, like the talent gravity is just amazing. Very, very hard to achieve. But if you see a sign of that, like, wow, that's something. And so a couple years after Sean joined in early 2009, when the world was kind of ending, the banks were going down, the financial crisis, they raised kind of a bridge round. And I think it was like one of those moments where the world's about to end. And so crazy things happened. And so I was able to invest in the company and really learned a lot from that experience. And I wouldn't say that they did everything right strategically over the years, but the things that they did right that I think anyone can learn from in a startup, just having this incredible talent gravity, having these amazingly talented people, and having this really strong mission. You might not agree with everything about the mission, but from the earliest days, they had this really, really strong commitment to the mission, and just it's been amazing to watch the company grow over the years.
Amazing, thank you for sharing. So I was thinking, relationships not only help us to have a healthy life, because, we need to see also to nurture our relationships, right? So they can also help us to get the person that is gonna fund our ventures. And this is not something to start when you need the money. Start building the relationships much earlier. That was one of the tips.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, to add on that, I would say that I think generally the best investors would like to invest in lines, not dots. So you don't always have the luxury. If Elon Musk comes up to you, it's like probably just give money. But generally, if you'd like to talk to a founder, hear what they want to do, and then it depends, but maybe talk to them in 3 months or 2 months or 6 months to see have they done what they said they're going to do. I mean, that's just really hard to do what you want to do when you have a really ambitious plan. And so, I think sometimes the best time to talk to investors actually not when you're desperately trying to raise money. It's kind of when you're thinking about a plan and you gotta say, hey, I want to do this, this, and this. And so if I talk to a founder like that, and then in 3 months they did this, this, and this, and sometimes they actually do another thing, that really gets my attention.
I want to quote you tomorrow on my LinkedIn post. Investors invest in lines, not in dots. I think it's incredible. I love it. I was also thinking, like, as an angel investor, when do you have your exit? Like venture studios, they have an early exit. What is your position there?
Yeah, I think it depends for angels versus venture capitalists. And so, as an angel, I would say, the answer is too early. I was, when I invested in Palantir, it quickly became like a very big part of my personal net worth. And so then I sold most of my shares in like 2015. And it made sense for me, personally, and I don't regret it. But when you are an investor in a company that's just like a rocket ship, probably should never sell. And so if you're a VC, often you have the luxury of waiting. And then some VCs debate this, but if you're an early investor in a company that's going great and they go public, I would say, to my investors, here's the shares, and then you can decide if you ever want to sell. Not all of them keep on going forever, but generally speaking, it's amazing. I think, Shopify, I think, was like a $400 million market cap when it went public, and now it's like a $60 billion market. So all these companies, these great ones, like, boy, you want to hold on to them as long as you can. But maybe, you have a personal financial consideration. You need to buy a house or pay for college, and so maybe you sell for those reasons.
Yeah. And I want to remind you that Joe, Palantir's founder, is speaking actually tomorrow at MDC. At John Campus, 5 to 8. Maybe Jose knows more about it. He's representing NBC here, so a good opportunity to.
Joe is amazing. Yeah, he's an investor in our fund, and listen to him for sure.
Yes. So when Joe, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, say, I want to do this, follow them. So I don't know if you were surprised when we got the last publication saying that Miami was ranked number 6 in pre-seed and number 8 in seed funding, right? So I want to ask you, how do you see Miami as a hub compared to cities like Austin or San Francisco? What are the advantages? What are the challenges that you see? Because we can say that you recently moved here and start when you moved to Miami, especially, right? You cannot do things on the East Coast, especially in Miami, right? As we're doing on the West Coast.
Sure, I'll start. So our firm started about 25 years ago with an office in San Francisco. We created an office in Israel, created an office in New York, and then in 2020, we then started an office here in Miami. And a big part of that was being local, because we saw this as an up-and-coming market. And you want to be, you need to be close to people to make that happen. So there's probably some cool VC firm in San Francisco, and you can email in your business plan to them. And then there's people like us who are actually physically here in this geo who will sit down with you, have breakfast, have a beer, help go through stuff, etc. So that's really what we're investing in this market when we come here, because this is what this means. So I don't know exactly where it ranks, but I do know that for us it's number 4. So it's the 4th one we've done over a 25-year span. But just on that note, there's actually something that when you were talking that you made me think about relationships. So one of the things when you're coaching a VC firm, a lot of times you go to their website and there's a big giant thing that says submit your business plan here, or here, email your business plan here, or here, fill out this form and submit your business plan here, etc. Whatever that is, don't do it. That's the last thing you want to do. What happens is that, going back to this thing about being in this market and being here and being in this room, it's very much it's a personal relationship. And so if the right thing to do is identify the firm and then find some way to connect to somebody in the firm, to somebody on LinkedIn you know, and say, hey, can you do an introduction, etc. But making a little bit of effort to actually get an introduction into a team person that's actually there will put you way ahead of the submit your business plan here button. And so again, that's another reason why we're here is, and you guys are all, congratulations everybody here for coming to this event, because now if any of you guys are ever want to raise money, you can now reach out to me and say, hey, we met at the AI Salon event. And I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. We invested in that. We came to Miami, we invested in here. So we now have a vested interest in making sure our efforts are successful. So we want this to work, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say, we're here investing in Miami for this.
And can you, now that you have the microphone, can you tell us what is that Rupert Capital offers to their founders beyond capital
Sure.
to make them succeed?
So we, in addition to capital, we provide a number of services to help you from the beginning all the way through. We typically take board seats. We have operators who've been in the business for many, many years. So we'll take a board seat and provide corporate governance there. One of my areas of focus is go-to-market. So we spend a lot of time on how do you get your first customers, how do you get your pitch right, how do you identify who you want to talk to. We have an innovation council with over 200 C-level execs. So if you're in AI manufacturing, you probably have 10 C-level execs in the manufacturing space that we go out to not only for due diligence, but afterwards for helping refine your pitch and your value prop and maybe become customers. That's something that's very big. We're marketing is a resource that we have. We spend a lot of time helping your messaging as well as getting the word out. We have 2 full-time recruiters. So talent is, talent, it's always about talent, getting not only your initial founding team, but the next people on board. So that's a whole other area that we invest in. Areas that we spend effort in.
May I ask how many portfolio companies do you have now?
We have 65 active portfolio companies.
Impressive. Do you want to add something, Sandy, to that?
Sure. Well, I mean, Bloomberg is a great firm. Their model is a little bit different than ours. We are, I would say, we don't have a big team. We have a very lean shop, and I think the biggest value add that we have, besides capital, is the experience that comes from being an early investor in the unicorns like Canva, Palantir, DistroKid, and Zoox, and Blade1, and others. And so it's that kind of experience that we have. We also have a great network that can be helpful. The thing about venture capital is that there's some really successful firms, really successful people who do things very differently. There's Andreessen Horowitz, for example, who's been really successful. They have like this huge operation, all these services, and then there's a firm like, say, Benchmark, which is also super successful. They're very lean. They're great. And so I think our model is a little bit more like Benchmarks in the sense that we're pretty lean and we're very hands-on with our companies, but we don't have a big portfolio services operation. We tend to think that the best founders kind of figure the things out. And so, actually, my experience as an angel investor, I found that there were a few companies where I was super helpful when I introduced a bunch of customers, and actually those companies didn't do so well because they didn't actually have to go through the hard pain of getting customers themselves. So it's an interesting debate in venture about how helpful should investors be, because maybe the best founders don't need as much help. Certainly, though, you want to have investors who are supportive and aligned, and that hopefully will be pretty responsive. So we're very much 24/7 responsive, but our model is to be kind of a little bit leaner, a little bit more like the Benchmarks than the Andreessen Horowitzes of the world.
Thank you. I was thinking also when you are an angel investor, normally you use a safe, right?
Sure.
Could you tell the founders here the difference between the signing, a safe here?
Well, sure. So a safe note is, this can get pretty boring, but it's a financial innovation. But there's kind of a debate if you're raising money, do you want to raise price equity or a safe note? And the short of it is that a price equity round, it can be the right thing for a company. It takes a lot more work. There's more legal, more things to negotiate. There's a lot of documents, due diligence. Safe notes are typically a couple pages. They're very standard. And so, founders that are raising money fast will usually use a safe note. There's some minor downsides. Y Combinator has really popularized the safe note. I think they kind of invented it. And so it's really standard for YC companies that are raising money. And usually when they raise money, they try to move very quickly. So they'll raise money on safes. So I don't think it's I think we usually invest in safe notes. I think, in a longer conversation that would probably bore people to tears. I can tell you some reasons why it's not quite as good as maybe some people think, but it's pretty common. And so I think it works. But if you want to do something else, I can work too.
In another salon that in the West Coast, it was very normal to to sign a safe, but here in Miami, the Asian investors try not to.
I think,
really
well, there's a tax
safe.
reason, and again, this stuff is really formally fast, except when you're paying taxes, then you like to have these tax breaks. There's a big tax break that you can get as an angel investor called QSBS. And so technically, a safe note investment, doesn't kind of trigger the 5-year clock that you need for QSBS. And so there's a tax advantage to not do a safe. However, the safe note will, if somebody's doing well, will typically convert into equity, and then you wait 5 years and you can be eligible for QSBS. But yeah, so some angel investors would prefer not to do the safe. At the same time, if you're not doing the safe, then you have to get into a lot of brain damage of negotiating all the documents and go through the due diligence that you need for a price equity round. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of agnostic about it, but certain people, it can be kind of like a religious, war in some circles. So there, I think there's pros and cons of both.
Thank you. And now I'm gonna go back to the ranking. So in the last 6 months, we passed from number 40th to number 14th. It's been amazing, and we are, one of the youngest hubs in the US in early stage, number 6 and number 8. But in Series D, we are still ranked at number 42. Right? So what do you think that Miami needs to close that gap?
Well, I think, the Series D might be a bit of a lagging indicator. If we have a lot of seed investments, and a lot more seed investments today than say 5-10 years ago, I think that we can expect there to be more, later stage rounds in the future. So I think, the future is promising there. At the same time, there certainly are some great companies that have founders here and some people here, but don't have most of their people here, because I think that the challenge is engineering density. And so, if we could kind of, I'm not an expert on local universities, and I think there's great people at local universities, but if we had, an MIT or Georgia Tech or like a big engineering focused school, that's the type of thing that often is a really valuable feeder to kind of feed into the startups. So I think it's a great place to have a seed stage company. Like we have one investment in Miami, and the founders are based here, but actually most of their engineers are in Mexico City. And so, I think when you're going from C to A, there's a ton of talent here, but if things are going really well and you're scaling from say your A to the B to the C to the D, your company's going from 10 to 20 to 100, 500 people. I think today, Miami doesn't have the density of technical talent that you really need, that you do have in the Bay Area, in New York. But that's, that can change. So I wouldn't write it off as something that, that the talent density growth little by little, every month in 5-10 years, it could be a much different scenario.
And the question is more for, as I asked you already, for Steve and Sandy. Do you already have some kind of partnerships with local universities, or are you trying to make them so that we can get to that stage? How can we help also, right? That's
I would be open to it. It's just about so many hours in the day, but it certainly is a good idea, and I'm open to suggestions.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how much we can influence this. I think having, what I've been encouraged by is there's more and more technical graduates, and there's more programs in computer science and AI, et cetera. So that's a big part of growing the ecosystem, where I see more of a critical mass of these people, and they exist, and that helps spur the ecosystem. I will say this, is that we were, as I mentioned before, we were actually one of the first VCs in California at the time to put an office in Israel. And we founded many companies in Israel, and then typically we move them to the US. They start there in R&D, and then as they grow up, we move them and have their headquarters in the US. So historically, we've told them, hey, you're in San Francisco or New York. That's kind of been the go-to thing. The last several years, we're like, oh, come to Miami. So we moved about 4 or 5 Israeli companies from Israel to Miami, the US headquarters.
Thank you. Great. So I'm just gonna ask you two questions that are related to the advice that you will give to our founders here, and then we will open for a couple of questions. So for the founders in the audience, what's the one piece of advice that you will give them to succeed in this Miami ecosystem? And from your experience also, if you can tell us what do you think is the most common mistake that early stage founders make and how they can avoid it?
I'll go first on that one. So I'd say let me start with the second part, because we're, as I mentioned before, we want to see a deep understanding of a problem that they're trying to solve. And so a lot of times people say, oh, we have this idea, but they don't really understand the customer to the depth. So I think really having a deep understanding. What we see a lot is people don't have a very deep understanding of the customer or the problem that they're trying to solve. And so a lot of people focus on the solution. Oh, we have the solution that does this, we have the solution that does that. But then they don't really understand the problem as well. I'll give a real simple example. I was looking at this DevOps company a few years ago, and they were like, oh my God, this is great. We're gonna save the company 50% of their DevOps spend. And it's like, oh my God, that's really impressive. But it turned out it would like triple the work required by the people doing the actual work, right? So the people doing the work are now, their work is going up. The CFO might be excited because the cost is going down, but the buyers actually, the people that have to do the work are the buyers, so they didn't really understand the problem. They were helping the people that are so that lack of understanding the problem in the customer, and that's the biggest mistake you see.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, well, I concur with Steve, that is identifying the customers, understanding what the customer needs and what they want. It's absolutely the biggest mistake. We see a lot of excitement around technology, particularly today with AI. It's amazing, and they come with great ideas, but then what is the customer, right? So definitely that's the number one. Number two, so I probably it's more related to the business model. So many of these guys, at least what we see, they are very very young, very inexperienced. They don't know how to apply a business model to a product, to a concept, and so many times we debate and we help them understanding what's the business model behind your story, how you go to market with this. So that's probably the second one we see. So maybe you go with the third.
Yeah, those are great insights. I wouldn't disagree with any of them. Yeah, I think the biggest one is the biggest mistake is not talking to customers enough. You just can't overdo it with that. And I guess I would also say, I mean, this is really hard, and being a successful founder is really hard. I think at the earliest stages, there's two basic things. There's building a product and selling a product, and the best founders can do both. And the best founders have a really high sense of agency, which is they just think they can do anything. And look, I've never founded a unicorn, so this does not apply to me. So one thing that we look for is founders who do the things that they don't want to do. And even better is they learn to like it. I mean, early in my career, I didn't really want to do selling, and I did a lot of selling, and I kind of taught myself to like it. So I have a little bit of experience there, but I'm not a builder. But I think the best founders will kind of like lean into those hard things, and ideally, really come to like it. And I would say, like, I've noticed one thing recently. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where it feels to me that the technical bar today is a little lower for founders, where these AI tools are so powerful. A couple of years ago, maybe you had to be a full stack engineer, super technical, to build an eye-popping product. But these days, there's founders who are not that technical, who and maybe they're not doing, maybe what they're doing seems like thin layer over ChatGPT, but some of those companies are growing really fast, and I think are really promising. And so I would say even folks who don't consider themselves technical, if they kind of like lean into some of these AI tools today, you can probably find that they do a lot more than they thought. and actually make products that are pretty amazing, which really is the essence of building a great tech startup.
Thank you, Sandy. That was really good advice. So don't create a problem. Work with a real problem and talk to your customers, have great, right? And you added something more,
Business model.
the business model. So you need to monetize. Okay? So, and now I will open the floor with a couple of questions. If there's someone that wants to ask someone to any of the panelists, please, you can do it now. We have one person there. And until he gets the microphone, or maybe you can come here. So I'll just add that this weekend, last weekend, we had an amazing hackathon at NBC to learn actually how to hack with these AI tools. So 95% of the attendees were beginners, even completely beginners, and we all built products with bold and stat plates. Thank you, NBC. So the question?
Yeah, I'm here. I could have just yelled it out, so it's all good. Keep the mic. So Alex Bonick, with Peacock Security, cybersecurity, that was the big thing. But I do have a question about the metrics, and it's a twofold question, right? A lot of things changed since COVID. So twofold question. First one is, I look at some metrics as a venture capitalist that's really popping up right now. Super important, just across the board, all startups. For example, we're hearing a lot. You got to show traction. You got to show cash flow positive. That's the first question. And the second one, similar to that, when you're looking at AI startups, is there a particular metric, LTV or CAC or anything that's like tied to the AI startup that you're really zeroing in?
I'll take a shot at it. We'll invest at the pre-seed stage, which is the idea stage, and so there's really not much to go there. But I would say that the one for me, I mean, of course, they love revenue and profits, great, all these things. But for me, I really like net promoter score, which, you know, it's kind of a fancy thing to measure, but really what it's supposed to measure is word of mouth. And so ultimately, like, I think that's the most important metric. Now, challenge is if your business model is, back to business models, if your business model is selling a $1 bill for 90 cents, people are gonna love you. You'll have a high word of mouth, high net promoter score, that's bad business. So we typically, I think like Steve, we focus on B2B software. And so if there's really software at the core of your business, like you probably have a pretty good business model. And so then it's about, showing these signs of word of mouth, signs of customer love. But sometimes it is more qualitative than quantitative.
NPS.
NPS is my favorite.
Yeah, I'll throw in there. So we're seed and Series A.
Right.
And so people are all like, what metrics does that mean? And I'll give you them. So pre-seed is I didn't get a napkin. Seed is we build some MVP product and maybe have a few paying customers. The seed is like those customers are really enthusiastic at your net promoter score. And then, so that's like a seed level. And then Series A is generally speaking, there's exceptions, probably more exceptions than rules. Series A is about $1 million of ARR. Because now what you're saying is we've got enough people, we've got to market enough people to sell this to. So now we just need to hire more go-to-market people to sell more of this stuff. But if you only have a few that are working in the seed, you're probably not ready to scale the go-to-market team, et cetera. So that's generally how we look at the stages.
Thank you, Steve. You want to-
Well, I mean, it doesn't much apply to very, very early stage like the companies we found.
Any other question or so we transfer? Yeah. One more question and then we will start with the pitch competition.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation, lovely discussion. My name is Andres Williamson, and picking up on a comment that one of you made about regulation, or I guess it was you, Mauricio.
Yeah.
What's your take on the new regulation coming from Europe and how impactful it would be for the AI business you are actually funding? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good news is that the U.S. market is large, and so if European regulations make it really hard to do business for a US startup, I think it's a manageable problem. So yeah, I would say as a VC, you would be surprised that I favor less regulation, and some of the European regulations strike me as really bad ideas that could stifle kind of startup innovation. But I think for a company based in Miami or in the US, broadly speaking, the US regulatory climate is friendly enough that there are some edge cases depending on what industry you're in, but generally in the world of B2B software, the regulations are too difficult to concern, I think, for us.
I thought of an answer. All right, so we will use this as a litmus test when evaluating entrepreneurs. Like, oh my God, we have the greatest thing ever in the world, people love it. And then we're like, oh, what about Europe? And if they're like, what about Europe? And then we're like, what about Europe? And then what about Europe? And so that if they don't, this is kind of like, they have to be able to navigate in space. So having them explain to us how what they're doing is gonna, or how their strategy, we want to hear how are they gonna navigate the European regulatory environment? And then having them say, this is how we think we can navigate this. They're like, oh, okay, they're thoughtful, they have an idea, they're educated, they're thinking about it. That would be a good sign. So that's how we would use that.
So start digging into the GDPR.
GDPR is a great example of this. We did round one for GDPR.
Yes, we have among the audience several companies that had to run, I would say, out of Europe because of the new regulations. Because the national laws haven't been written yet. They're not going to be ready until September at least. So what do I do if I'm building an AI tool and I'm not building it in the correct way and I'm gonna be wasting my runway for nothing, right? So thank you so much for accepting this invite to the AI Salon. I'm sure that you can connect with them later if you want to ask more questions. We're gonna transition into the pitch competition. I want to say hi to Alexander Kersover. He's also another team member of the AI Salon here in Miami. Say hi, Alexander. So that everyone knows if you need an introduction, you go to him also. Okay, and so we're gonna transition. The startups are gonna have 5 minutes, including the demo, to pitch. Steve Mogg is gonna stay as one of our judges. Bob is gonna join us as a judge. And then I was thinking of, I don't see someone else. I don't see Henry. So I'm gonna ask maybe Jeffrey, do you want to join us as judge? I don't know if you know, but our founder is a successful VC also. It's Scale Ventures. You see the logo of this VC, our banners every month. So we will start now, and then we will continue with networking. And while we are changing, it's going to take us 2 minutes. Maybe Ariel can tell us about Cashflow VIP. Ariel? Please. So Ariel is the owner of Cashflow VIP, and he's going to tell you as a sponsor of tonight's conference what do they offer to founders. And you should really listen to what he does, because it's an option to keep bootstrapping with 0% interest money.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. What we
So,
do,
why, this is what he's saying.
what we do, we create or modify or Good afternoon again. My name is Ariel Luis from Cashflow. We use the profile of the corporation and the profile of the person, owner of the corporation. And with the have very good connections with banks and financial institutions and we get some financial money. We use the credit score of the person as collateral, but the financial institutions and banks don't use that to reflect the credit on the person. The credit goes to the corporation, but won't show on the personal credit. So people that have a reasonable credit can get 0% for 12 months, 18 months, credit lines, credit cards, and that's I think is very helpful for startups. We analyze the credit of the person, we create the profile, we analyze the corporation, and we submit the application, and the person is responsible for the rest. Person and the corporation have to have at least the corporation 6 months. We cannot use a corporation that was created like yesterday or something like that. But the profile of the person is the collateral. How the person have the credit is the bank. The bank use that credit as a collateral in order to fund the corporation. So it's an easy process. We can do 3 rounds. We're talking $500,000. Questions? Any question, you can go to me and I have the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So now we have the startup competition, and if we have other people on the back, you can come because it's a very interesting part. Maybe Patricia, if you can ask people to join. This is very important because we have tangible proof of AI leverage, and we are AI Salon. Let's wait a little bit. I think they want to drink a little bit, have a break. Jess, are they coming?
Oh, Israel is there. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. There is a very important part. So today we have the privilege to have Andrea Sinelli.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
the founder and CEO of Full Farm. And as Patricia explained before, Full Farm is Europe's top AI venture builder. Andrea is a stakeholder in VoiceMe. He will represent them beautifully. And VoiceMe revolutionized voice authentication and AI-driven communication technology. So please come with me and welcome Andrea.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello guys, I'm going. I my voice also to wake up you. So, we speak about voice. Today I introduce VoiceMe, but before to start, I want to ask this question: how can I be sure that you are the one who claim to be digital voice? It's complex, and you know that digital identity is now a big challenge in the AI. So the way to identify securely a customer online or in person or in digital way is complex in the AI age, and is the main challenge that we have in this moment. The problem is so huge. Every second, 300 identities are stolen, and 85% of synthetic identity fraud are undetected by the legacy system. So it's quite complex, and it creates a huge value of damages to the company in 2030. More than 30 billion of losses can be due to the synthetic identity fraud in 2030. Every 2 seconds, an identity and the password is dead. Why? Why people use weak password? It's clear. This is a strong password. Now close your eyes and try to remind it. It's complex. I think that is quite impossible to remind it. And so we need a solution that generates strong identity and be able to be simple and safe to use, ready for AI scam and fraud proof. This is why we invented in 2023 VoiceMe. VoiceMe is the first patented platform that allows to be identified, to sign, to pay by voice. It creates tamper-proof 6-factor digital identity across all channels and now also on WhatsApp. Super secure and super fast. 6 factors, 98% of accuracy, and everything is done in 3 seconds. So why not do that? 5 products. Voice Key is the solution that we sell to access to digital properties. Voice Pay is the solution that we sell to pay by voice. It's our patent in Italy, in Europe, and now is ready also to be patented also in US. Voice Sign to sign legally documents by voice. And Voice Access to physical access. And Voice APP is to make possible to have an identity and action confirmed, like OTP. Let me show how it works. It's quite simple. First of all, in the moment in which we authorize the process, the device is checked that is the one that you have enrolled. First, we check the voice fingerprint. Second, also we check the lateral voice frequencies and biomarkers. Third, then we check the facial biometrics. When we do the liveness audio check, so we generate a sentence that the user is asked to repeat randomly. Then also we do a KUC, so we check the document that is uploaded. All the checks are done separately in order to guarantee maximum security and can be used in tons of ways. So you see that it's patented in Europe, is LIPO PCTs, and now it's going to be patented in the US. No compromising UX. 3 seconds to enroll, 3 seconds to authorize, and 1 lifetime for hackers and for scammers to overpass it. On any channel, and now we also released it on WhatsApp. This is the first solution in the world that made possible to identify, to sign and pay using WhatsApp too. And is one of our best-selling solutions in this moment. VoiceMe is the only solution in the world that combines secure customer authentication with signing and payment all together. And is a SaaS solution. It's a B2B, B2B2C. We sell it to banks, but also to Airbnb tools. A lot of companies, and we have more than 1,000 identification and lots of customers worldwide. If you wanted to show, if I show the market, it's quite big, quite huge. The total addressable market is $116 billion. And the total SRM is 1 million, so a very important market in which we can address. And actually, we are rising 5 millions at an evaluation of 15 millions in a pre-series A. We are ready to expand here in the US and to expand also in this country in which we wanted to enlarge and have a strong presence. So if you imagine that in the next 10 years, okay, finish. In the next 10 years, let's begin, voice will be the key. Voice key will be the application in which we have to invest. Thank you.
Thank you.
So any questions from the judges?
Product question, you said 98% accuracy?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
These are good things.
But if 2 out of 100 times it's not working?
You know how much is the quality? I have done the previous exit in 2020,
And I exited in 2020, selling a solution that is allow KYC biometrics. More than 100 bits of identification. Actually, Europe is used all over the world, and the level actually is 85%. So it's a 10 point more than the actual standard model.
So failure is just the user does it again, is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was thinking it failed to, so they just have to refill it
Failed
again.
made not possible to be overfasted, not block you.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
yeah, okay, so this is about user
Yeah,
experience.
it's about it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's not so bad.
Yeah. So if the 2% not works, you cannot come farther.
So they're not false positives or false negatives?
No.
Okay.
You could be not
So you said you got sales. Talk a little bit about your existing sales traction and the companies that you have sales with and what those sales are right now.
Yeah, actually, we are selling mostly in banks, in insurances, also in digital property. We have a traction that the company started 2 years ago. We had developed the product, and now we have 100 customers all over Europe, and it's growing fastly in revenue, so we have more than 1 million.
$1 million of current revenue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No more questions? Oh, one.
Wow.
That's right.
You have 1 billion users waiting on WhatsApp. How do you let the first user that tries your product tell all the others? What's built into the product that leads to virality and distribution of?
It's not a B2C, it's a B2B, it's a B2C solution. So mostly use it, for example, for telcos to sign the contracts, for insurances to sign contracts, or to interact with customer counsel between, for example, if you are an entity customer, want to know that you really, is why, when we use that. No, obviously, because consumer, it's not a consumer solution.
Got it.
Yeah, we'd like to take a deeper look.
Oh, wow.
We'd like to take a
Whoa,
deeper
whoa,
look.
whoa, whoa.
I can't from Italy for this moment.
I have an Italian wife.
Oh, power of community, wow. Okay, more questions for the jury? Okay, so.
So I can finish it like every Italian say.
Grazie mille.
Yes, yes. So now, so we can continue the conversation during the network, and we will pass to the second startup, led by Israel Hernandez, the co-founder and CEO of Lana Group. He will present Inversionario, a company providing financial services leveraging their innovative AI robot advisor platform. And you have to know that their financial services are targeting the US Latino community. So I think that she's not ready. So I will take this occasion to present myself because I haven't done it. So I'm Dolores Frazover, one of the founders of AI Salón Miami and also AI Salón Global, and I act as the CTO. I think that Israel is here, so you can welcome with me Israel Hernandez.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know before, they solve the technical problem that from January, we are not meeting on the third Wednesday, but on the third Thursday. So it's gonna be like that the whole year. In January, we have here Chairman Boulder. I don't know if he's still here. Maybe chatting on the bar. But we are gonna open the forum to this community so that you can help if you have suggestions to improve the AI guidelines for Miami-Dade County that we are currently drafting. Everyone is gonna be affected by this guideline. So we want the community to be involved with it. So we will invite people to talk about responsible AI, ethics, liability, copyright, all those things, and we want your opinion on that, okay? And yes, So, any suggestion, any question? Something that you want to let us know? He thought she had the presentation, vice versa, so they're fixing it now.
How many companies were in?
In January?
No, it's not, how many more companies? There were more companies. And is AI going to be the focus of everything going forward in the next year, as far as the companies presenting?
So, we have an arrangement with Emerge since last month. The winner is fast track to Emerge, the accelerator. So that's the prize tonight. We only have 2 tonight. They are both in fintech, so we are trying now to organize a big competition per vertical or per infrastructure that they use. So we will be organizing AI salons around Google Cloud or Meta, AWS, and also health tech, prop tech, fintech that are the main verticals in Miami. Okay, so now we can start. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hello, my name is Efron Hernandez. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lana Group. And today we are presenting Inversionario. Inversionario is the AI investment global advisor for the Latino community. First, let me present our team. We have an ex-professional trader. We have the founder of one of the 5 largest consulting firms in Mexico, Adriana Garcia. We have an ex-CEO of the largest transactional switch in Mexico. Our CTO is a machine learning for finance expert. And myself, I have been coding for around 26 years. I coded the first banking system in Mexico for Banco Bangladesh, and also co-invented the IP wireless POS in the year 2000. I exited my company in the year 2013, sold to Edenred with a 10x exit, and it was a KPMG success story. So basically, did you know that in 2022, only 28% of the Latino families were invested in the stock market, compared to 66% of white families? Why? Because of cultural differences and language barriers. And guess what? Less than 2% of all the US financial advisors are Hispanic. Less than 2%. And quick question for all of you. Who has a financial advisor? Raise your hand. Okay, guess what? The next time that you ask for a financial advisor, he will ask for you to have at least $50,000 in assets under management. Why? Because they normally charge 2% of those assets per year. That means that in this case, he will be making $1,000 per year. So if you don't have $50,000, they don't care about you. That's the big problem here. That's the problem that we are solving. So we developed an AI-based investment robo-advisor. How? We extracted the thinking of 3 portfolio managers, humans. We gathered 10 years of stock market information, and using machine learning, we trained these models to create the portfolios and then the rebalance process. We connected those portfolios to the stockbroker. It's called Alpaca, by the way. And we are getting our Series 65 license to become an RIA, Registered Investment Advisor. Okay? I will walk you through the process. It's really fast, but basically the model selects from the Russell 3000, from the 3,000 largest companies here in the US, it selects the first universe using 40 different parameters. It clusters those stocks, the best performance, and then it creates a selection. It selects the best of the best, okay? Then it begins doing all the combinations to create the portfolio. And this is part of the secret sauce. Fractional shares. Not many people know about fractional shares, but basically you can buy parts of a share. So if, for example, somebody has $100, we can buy 0.000 Apple, 0.00 Google. So that's why we can create portfolios with as little with $100. And every month the model rebalances. It takes out or in stocks. It can sell stocks, it can buy new stocks. The total market, 44 million USA Latinos living here in US, but let's get real. Our model is a B2B partnership. We partner with Latino trusted brands. In this case, let me tell you that we have signed our first contract for 3 years with the soccer team Chivas Guadalajara to promote these portfolios to their fans. They have 5 million fans here in US, and from those, we think that we can get 500,000 users. The fans can open their accounts with as little as $100. This is our 3 years growth plan. And the revenue stream is very easy. $4.99 per month if you have less than $5,000 in the account. $9.99 if you have more than $5,000 in the account. And by the way, the financial education is always for free and in Spanish. According to our projections, we can get cash positive with the first 30,000 users. And right now we are asking for $250,000 for 10% of our company. The founders and family and friends, we have already invested $150 to create all the products. And in a nutshell, please join us and help us grow the Latino well. Thank you very much.
Israel, a couple of things. Number one, from a regulatory perspective, are you reaching these customers through Mexico or through the US?
Through US. Why? Because we are becoming a registered investment advisor. That's a specific category that the SEC has defined that is called Internet-only advisor. That means that we can't open a shop, a store. We can't offer to person by person. It has to be a massive. In fact, it's massive. The promotion is like Sofa or Wealth or Eleves, all those global advisors. But this is specific for the Latino community.
And also, how are you doing the fractional shares?
When we found out that this concept, it was pretty in 2018 more or less, the SEC authorized that you can buy fractional shares. So, if, for example, I know that you trade. So, if you send an operation for, let's say, $120 by Apple, the broker will give you the exact amount, the exact shares divided for that amount. So you don't have to buy the full share. So that's the reason.
I like the partnering, I like the focus on the Latino community, and I like the partner brands to get there. Just a quick observation of the presentation. You said there were 5 million fans of the Mexico soccer team in the US, and you expected 500,000 of them to be customers. I think that's way too high. At 10%, I mean, they're gonna, they can do billboards and ads and emails, but I mean, my guess is it's gonna be 1% or 2. But the good news is there's a lot of those different brands. Like, that's just one channel. So I like the strategy of just queuing up more and more and more of those opportunities. I just think that that's way too bullish on that projection.
Pipeline to more Mexican news.
Sorry, I'm also holding the camera. So in many countries, I've seen platforms that allow people to invest in US dollars, US equities internationally. Does this work for Latinos outside of the United States who want to hold these same accounts, or only those living in the United States?
Well, technically, it works for any human around the world. Why? Because the law says, okay, if you are a Mexican living in Mexico, it's your responsibility. If you want to put your money in US, the USA stock market, and we, the SEC, we won't protect you. Basically. So if there's a problem, go to the CNBC, Comisión Nacional de Valores from Mexico, and ask for your money. We don't protect your money. The SEC protects up to $500,000 to residents and citizens.
Okay.
That's the answer. Yeah. It was wireless.
Is there another one? Sure. Well, I could just say with that. I was just curious because you said that you got Chivas on board. I was very curious how you managed to onboard them because they are a huge team. And the other question I had was kind of like, in terms of what benefit they get from partnering up with you, I was just curious and if you could maybe expound more on that.
Sure, no secret. First question, our CRO over there is responsible for negotiating this contract for 8 months. And on the second question, revenue share. That's it.
I did hear that you were saying that the model rebalances on a month-to-month basis.
Yeah.
Are you guys accounting for the tax implications of rebalancing the portfolios of the individuals on a month-to-month basis?
Yeah. In theory, it doesn't rebalance it doesn't take out all the stocks every month. The market is bullish, which keeps the same stocks. But if we find the model finds some stuff that is not anymore worthy, it takes out and buys a new one.
Okay.
Perfect. So thank you very, very much for hearing.
So now, if some people have some question, no more question for Israel? No more question? Okay. Yeah. We have a few minutes of
We have to do it right now?
yes. The judge. So this is the scientific answer. They were very good, actually. What will be the decision?
So the judges are gonna leave us for a couple minutes and are gonna deliberate and we're gonna know who the winner is gonna be to go fast track to emerge in March. Although the accelerator starts late January, I think it's like 7 or 8 weeks of free mentorship, digital program and other stuff. And they have a free booth at the Emerge show. So what I'm gonna tell you in the meantime is that you should set up in your agendas that our next meeting is gonna be January 16th, which is the third Thursday. Okay? And then you can set up all the third Thursdays of 2025. That's gonna, AI Salon is gonna happen. Normally here, but sometimes you know that we go somewhere else. I tell you, we're gonna have AI speakers again. Every time we try to bring in more, like higher. We're gonna have A classes very soon. I'm not gonna tell you the names, but I'm sure that you're gonna want to make it. Okay? And remember that tomorrow there is an opportunity to see Joe speaking, the founder of Palantir at NBC, Padron Campus. There are many things going on tomorrow. There is also the official opening of Mana Hubs on the 3rd floor. If you're interested in a co-working space, let me know. I can put you in contact with them. It's only for tech startups, and the good thing is that the starting price starts at $100 per month, okay? With access to this floor and the 8th, and it's gonna be also the 6th floor. and unlimited for $150. And they have private offices starting at $650, which is a good price. If you are in AI, you need to be in downtown, as you know. If you are in fintech, retail, crypto, blockchain is going good. So if you want more information, you can let me know. There are many events going on also tomorrow. There is also a matchmaking event for founders, Sparkix. I don't know if you heard about it. Nelly Ortiz is organizing it. Marcelo, I think is going. Can you tell us more about the event? Have you been already to one of the events? They do a speed networking for founders. Not just to find another founder, but also to find partners. So that's something that you can check it out. And we have another demo day here on Friday. It's the end of the program here at Anatech, so if you like the pictures. Anything that you would like to share with us, any suggestions? They're still deliberating, so who do you think is gonna win? By the way, I'm very proud, and I can share with you that yesterday we had a pitch competition at Miami-Dade College. In two startups were fast tracked also to emerge, right? And I was one of the winners. So I will be going to emerge. We have a lot of opportunities now in town to teach, to mingle with other founders, to meet investors. My advice is that you need to start now building up those relationships. Don't wait until you start fundraising to do it, because then it's going to take you at least 9 months. If you start doing it now, you're going to start fundraising in 9 months. When you start, you can raise in 1 week or 1 month. Right? If you say, oh, no, I'm too busy now, I don't have the time to go to events, well, we also need time, and this can be a big time for some of us, because a lot of us, I think, we are workaholics. So this, I consider my me time. So maybe they're almost ready. They're almost ready. We also had actually here the chapter organizers of Mexico. Are you still here, chapter organizers from Mexico? No?
They're ready. They're ready.
Okay, they're ready. Okay, so I'm gonna give them the microphone and you're gonna hear from them who is the winner.
And Steve's gonna make it.
We would like to announce that the final winner of, after our deliberation, was Boise.
Thank you very much for having us. And what are our next steps here? Wow, grazie.
Thank you so much. We will send you all the details so that, Melissa Medina receives all the details.
Patricia, entrega el teléfono, Patricia.
Good job.
Thank you.
It's your work.